What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin, John.
And we have yet another album review for you. So another one that was on our radar because this band has rebounded from a lot of tragedy here lately was the latest offering from Metal Church, Congregation of Annihilation. This also comes out on the 26th of May on Rat Pack Records. This band formed in 1980 in San Francisco, so they were kind of part of the Bay Area scene, though they did move to Washington later. This is their 13th album overall, the first with new singer Mark Lopez. I believe the only band that I saw that I really recognized that he played in was Malaya Rage, and I'm not super familiar with that band, but we might as well address, probably one of the big elephants in the room here. The reason why there is a new singer is, sadly, in 2021, Steve Howe took his own life, and sorely missed. He was the singer that I initially heard when I first got in this band back with their album Human Factor. And it was absolutely tragic. And unfortunately, tragedy just seems to follow this band. Their singer before that, David Wayne, sadly passed in 2005. And here recently, within a week, their original drummer, Kirk Arrington, passed away due to health complications or health issues. It really wasn't fully disclosed yet, I believe. But my heart goes out to this band because that isn't the only tragedy they've experienced, too. There are other members that have died. Within the last 15 years, they have lost, I would say, 5 members.
Damn.
But this band has an interesting sort of timeline in terms of the Bay Area scene and coming up. Actually, Lars Ulrich used to rehearse with this band before joining Metallica, and luckily Metal Church found literally any other drummer. Their first 2 albums are heralded as a great bridge between thrash metal, speed metal, heavy metal, and power metal, kind of combining all with giant vocals, excellent classic heavy metal riffs, but that thrash aggression. And those are the 2 albums that I probably know the most outside of the Human Factor. And unfortunately, I lost that copy of Human Factor years ago in one of the moves. I don't know. I rarely ever lose a CD, but I lost that one. That's kind of fucked.
Losing things is a human factor.
It is. Now, going through all these years, the only original member that is still with Metal Church is guitarist and one of their principal songwriters, Kurt Vanderhoof. And he's keeping this thing going, again, kind of navigating through all the tragedies, and they're back with a new album, and I was curious what it would sound like. I'm a big fan of the earlier stuff. I think it's just really solid, classic heavy metal. It just does, all the cool things you want from classic heavy metal, riffs, melodies, giant vocals, and, for the most part, I think we got it again. This is very much in the vein of what you kind of expect from Metal Church. You have big riffs, heavy metal harmonies, thrash, but, not like the heaviest thrash. Again, it's kind of more on the speed metal spectrum, but, they deliver on riffs and hooks and pretty much everything that would be familiar to a longtime Metal Church fan.
I'd call it simply just a more modernized mix for an old school sound. It still sounds very 80s.
Yeah.
Sounds like I was 10 when this record came out, even though it came out this week. And that segues into the mix itself. The guitars aren't thin, but they're not full either. They kind of just sit there. You can definitely hear them, but it seems like they're just missing either a little bit of volume or a little bit more presence, or I don't know how to really describe.
Yeah, that was something we noticed earlier on. I was like, man, I can hear them. They're there. You can make out the riffs. They do, carry a bit of a punch, but I feel like if you just tweak the volume knob a little bit.
If you beefed them up just a little bit, it would add so much. The riffs are fucking great.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. The bass has a nice presence to it, a nice warm, rich sound. The drums are punchy. They're a little out front, but I can't complain. I'm a drummer myself. An excellent fucking drum work.
Yeah, I really like the drum work. They definitely propel the songs. Lots of cool syncopated grooves, heavy metal gallops, D beats. Pretty much everything this band does comes from a very classic wheelhouse. There's nothing on here where I would say they're trying to modernize their sound, because honestly they really don't need to, because they're kind of a classic band. There are a lot of bands that have been influenced by this band over the years, and kind of why change it? But there are maybe a couple of slightly different wrinkles, or at least variety in terms of what they do. Peck of God and Pray, easily the heaviest song on here. More of a sinister sort of syncopated groove to it. It's a stomping rhythm, more machine gun guitars. This is definitely more on the thrash side of their sound, at least in terms of the pace of the guitars, but drum wise it's almost kind of got that bolt thrower kind of like double time groove. Like it just stomps and fucking, beats the hell out of you.
Songs like Me the Nothing and Making Monsters both have a kind of a clean intro to them. Really subdued tone. Making Monsters has this cool kind of like staccato, flared Rush intro almost.
Yeah, I really like that. Like you have this sort of like very palm muted little syncopated thing with a clean melody playing behind it and a really cool bass line. Actually, there's some really slick bass lines that really come out in their more subdued moments on here. But yeah, that kind of turns into like a more thrashy section with like more galloping drums. But the clean sections on here are really interesting, especially on Children of the Lie, because it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like it has a very classic heavy metal vibe, like all the way through it, like very Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. But when you get down to the end,
when you get down to the bridge, it's almost got like a balladish type section, and then it gets a little proggy. I just got reminded of Rush.
I thought of Queensryche right away. Like I don't know, like I was waiting for Jeff Tate to come in and sing and tell us about operations and mind crimes and, other board games I didn't play.
You didn't play Operation?
No, I played
The
Operation.
fuck kind of kid are you?
I lost all the pieces.
Oh, well.
And you got some more, like, thrashy, faster numbers. The title track has, like, good gallops to it and, like, good chuggy riffs to it. Again, maybe with, like, a little bit more beef in the guitars, like, that thrash side would really come out, because I would say overall this has more of, like, a classic heavy metal feel. These Violent Thrills kind of has, like, a more like classic heavy metal DB to it, like kind of like Killers era, Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Always something I will love. And the last song, Salvation, has like really fun thrashy riffs with a cool syncopation behind it. Definitely reminds me a lot of Megadeth. Really solid lead work, which the lead work I think is really good on here. It's very classic, like very melodic, very straight out of their era.
Yep, nothing overly flashy. It really, they're meat and potatoes leads, but they're done really well. Like he always throws in little squeals and little harmonies in places. A lot of trade-off leads too.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of harmonies in the leads. I think they're all very well done. As
well as like just straight up harmonies. Like there's a lot of harmonized guitar parts on here, and you even get some more interesting vocal hooks occasionally too. Like All That We Destroy has like a really clean chorus refrain on it that actually has like a really awesome melody to it. And that song itself I think is just really well written. Like a lot of it kind of reminded me of like Countdown to Extinction era Megadeth, where it's not often breaking out into that full tilt thrash. Like it's kind of hanging on to a more listenable groove. Like we're not getting too aggressive because we don't want to scare our fan base, which is a little bit older now. But vocals are kind of an issue on here. All right, new guy here, Mark Lopez. Again, I didn't know much about him, but all right, filling Steve Howe's shoes, big deal. Like he was a really well-liked vocalist, and he was on some seminal albums. And even before that, like I said, David Wayne was really known for his, exceedingly high vibrato, but an insane vocal range. And they got one with an insane vocal range. But Mark might be doing too much on here. Like, it's vocal calisthenics on every track.
Don't get me wrong, he's good at what he does. Like, he hits a lot of high registered notes, and he hits them really well. He hits a lot of lower register. He's got a good mid-range. Like, he's all over the map. But he's all over the map everywhere. Like, he gives 110% to every song. Like, it's full tilt boogie all the time.
It's like he's still trying to, like, show the band, hey, I can do this too. It's like, dude, you already got the job, man. Like, it's okay. It's like, no, man, I can do more. It's like, you don't need to. Like, maybe rein it in. Because, like, his vocal performance on here is foot on the gas at all times. Like, he really doesn't let up. And that leads to issues in terms of vocal hooks. There's a lot of really solid guitar melodies on here.
Tons.
And when it comes down to, like, a big chorus hook, you want a voice that will match up with that. And yes, he has intensity. Yes, he kind of has those snotty thrash vocals occasionally too. But he doesn't know when to pick them. And the chorus hooks are kind of rough. Even when, the backup vocals come in to sort of harmonize with them, he's difficult to harmonize with.
Yeah, and with so much going on, like, it doesn't make anything really stand out vocally because he uses the same tricks in every song.
Yeah. Just in, different orders. And again, the fluctuation of his vocals, like, it's It's very manic. Like sometimes he's just kind of like growling in your face, and sometimes he's just going for those high register wails that are high enough to fucking shatter a wine glass. It's just a bit much. And honestly, like that was kind of the thing that kind of kept me kind of out of some of these songs, because again, this band is known for melody and hooks as well as like just solid riffing. And that is pretty much all on display here again. But you need a vocalist that can kind of match up with that. And I think this guy is just trying way too hard. And it kind of hurts the album a little bit.
At the same time, for, you know, your debut performance, you want to let the cat out of the bag. Just maybe put the cat back in the bag.
Yeah, what if the cat has fucking rabies?
Ooh, that's a good
seriously,
point.
I think you put the cat back in the bag. Now, while musically I like most of this, there are a couple of songs in here that I just couldn't get into, and oddly, it was kind of where the singer kind of fit in maybe a little bit the most. Say a Prayer with 7 Bullets kind of brings out a little bit of the cock rock swagger. Like, well, it kind of sounds like a rowdy Jackal song. I'm not a big fan of Jackal, but that was kind of the vibe I got. But it got a little bit worse. One of the bonus tracks, My Favorite Sin, is flat out just a cock rock song. It is kind of that like maybe heavier breed of like kind of hair metal like you would hear like a little bit later in the 80s, like Dr. Feelgood. Like this is like a Motley Crue B-side, and I'm pretty sure the title for it would have been like something like Show Me Your Butthole Baby, or you know, whatever. It's Motley Crue. Man, they're pretty much a walking collection of fucking STDs. Seriously, this song, it just feels like, you know, kind of a riffy jam session. Like it kind of feels like, you know, your parents' house. Like, you know, this is like one of the albums that dad keeps out in the garage in his man cave. Like, wife won't let me play it inside. She says, you know, it's, you know, fucking stupid. I still like it. Would you like a beer? It's that kind of energy. And it was something kind of took away from it. But I mean, overall though, going over this, like, honestly, it was still pretty fun to listen to. Like, this band still has a classic sound that bridges a lot of different styles in metal, like namely 80s metal. And you can still hear like the sort of influence that they had, you know, on those earlier bands, like
100%
upcoming thrash bands and like classic heavy metal. Like they kind of fit in a lot of different places. So overall, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I was kind of wavering on the 2.5, but I mean, honestly, persevering through what this band has persevered through, this is still really well done. It's got good catchy riffs. It's got, you know, again, that balance of all these different styles, speed metal, thrash metal, heavy metal. It's all really done well. I think the guitar work is excellent. Once again, they've always had an ear for melody. The drum performance is solid. Mm-hmm. You know, the songs have a lot of that old energy too. And yeah, it does sound a bit dated, but again, I don't think this is a band that really needs to change their sound very much. I will say that I think the vocalist has a lot of talent. He just needs to kind of restrain it and kind of draw it back in a bit, because there's a lot of just over-the-top vocals on here that feel a bit unnecessary. Like, there's nothing wrong with, like, kind of settling down to a nice little, like, clean part for a chorus, or, you know, growling it up in one section. Like, he's trying to do all of these things at once. And granted, he's good at it. But again, a little bit of control. But yeah, overall, this was still a really solid listen. So yeah, if you're a classic Metal Church fan, pretty sure you'll dig it. And I mean, if you just like classic heavy metal, speed metal, and thrash metal, yeah, I think you'll probably dig it too.
Yeah, it's a 3 for me too. Look, musically, it's actually pretty fucking good. There are great riffs in here. There's tons of melody. Again, the drum work is really solid. You could have told me this came out in like 1983 and I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. I would have even praised the production, because it sounds, again, like a more modernized sound for something that came out in the 80s. The songs are all entertaining, very energetic throughout. Even when they slow it down and jam a little bit, they never let up really on just the overall energy throughout the song. Like, you can still feel it building. Yeah, like the song Me and Nothing, where they do slow it down a little bit. It gets really groovy. It's kind of got like a Dio-ish vibe to it. Dark and brooding, just changes up the dynamic a little bit, because even though they're energetic, they have a lot of the same just style to them, whereas they're kind of built the same. Like, they're definitely not reinventing the wheel, but they are still jamming. Overall, this band still is very well put together and does what they've always done, which is make great riffs and just have a good time. Vocally, again, he's not bad at what he does. He just needs to not be 110% all the time, not only to change up the dynamic, but to change up like the feel of the songs and make everything a bit more memorable. Still a great vocalist. I'm not gonna knock that. He's good at what he does. Just needs to just push it back a little bit. Go from like 110% to like 85%. And then 100. But overall, I'd state it wasn't bad. It was a good jam, so 3 for me.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is down there, as well as our store. We are eventually going to be loading up on stuff. We are still figuring out the merch and, like designs and such, but we have some stuff we are working on, and we will definitely keep you updated. We also have a giveaway going on for when we hit 15,000 subscribers, which is, again, just an obscenely large number for what we do. I am going to give away a stack of 10 CDs to some lucky metalhead. All you have to do is comment on the video link down below. It's also playing automatically on our channel. And once we hit the mark, I will announce the winner and do the little comment randomizer thing. And, well, we'll be at 15,000 subscribers. And we are less than 300 away from that right now. So, yeah, it's going to happen soon. And it's amazing, and fucking thank you guys so damn much for getting us this far. We have a ton of stuff planned for the future of this channel, and yeah, it's hopefully gonna be cool as fuck.
Thank you for all of it, really. Like Nick said, it means the world to us. We are floored by the fact that we're nearly at 15,000 subscribers, a number we thought to be surely unachievable, again, for what we do, but we're there, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So I'm gonna thank you, and you. Thank you, and thank you, and I see you there in the back. What's up? Thank you. And we will catch you later.